Here's a sample of double knitting. Double knitting, it looks like stockinette stitch on one side, and then also looks like stockinette stitch on the reverse side. The fabric is actually 2 fabrics thick throughout the entire piece, and both the front side and the back side are knit at the same time as you go. I'll do a sample. Each square, here's the chart I'm working with. It looks like the front side of the work. Each square on the chart represents 2 stitches. One stitch is a knit stitch in the color shown, and then it's followed by a purl stitch in the opposite color for the back of the piece. And then on the or the even number rows, on your rows going back across the other direction, you do a knit stitch in the opposite color of the one shown, followed by a purl stitch in the opposite color of that knit stitch. So this pattern is Heart's Double Knit Hot Pad. It's a free pattern from about.com, and there's a link to it on the site. Okay, so we're at the very last row, the white row at the top. So we're doing a knit stitch in white followed by a purl stitch in red across the entire top. I'm going to show you, here, let me do that again slowly, how I hold the yarn. This is how I prefer to hold it. The primary strand, the one I'm knitting in, I like to hold standard continental style, and then the purling strand I like to hold almost identically, but instead of putting my index finger under it, I put my middle finger under it, and I like to stagger them pretty far, space them far apart on the fingers. Makes it easier. I'll show you another way to hold it, which you may prefer, but we'll demonstrate a few stitches this way. So knit 1, oops, wrong color. Knit 1 white, purl 1 red. Knit 1 white, purl 1 red. Now you may not even notice I'm doing this, but with continental knitting, as you go, both colors automatically and very easily go to the back to knit and then to the front to purl. They both easily jump from front to back. And that's what you want. You want both colors in the back before you start a knit stitch and both colors in the front before you start a purl stitch. It's a little harder to remember if you've got one or both strands in your right hand. I'll do a demonstration of that in a second. So just again, knit 1 white, both strands to the front, purl 1 red, both strands to the back. Knit 1 white, purl 1 red. So that's it. If you get lost in the pattern, you're trying to follow the chart, just pay attention to the knit stitches, which represent the front of the pattern. Forget about the purl stitches when you're looking at the chart. It'll just confuse you. The purl stitch is always the opposite color of the preceding knit stitch. So you don't even have to pay attention to that. Just look at the strands on the needle above the knit rows, and that's the colors that you just worked off the chart. You can see all the strands are white above the knit stitches, which is what we want on this row. Let me show you another way of holding the yarn. Primary color or the knitting color in the left hand, the primarily knitting color, and the primarily purling color in the right hand, English style. This is continental style. It's on the website under the basic knitting page, continental knitting, English knitting. If you're not familiar with one of these, you can learn how to do it a little more slowly on its own first before combining them. It's just easier. Okay, so knit 1 white, continental style, yarn to the front. You see that extra step I have to do? Purl 1 red, English style, yarns both to the back, knit one white, yarns to the front, purl one red. Am I doing this right? Hold on a minute, let me double check my white, white, white. Oh, I think I did something wrong in the last stitch. Oh, I skipped a stitch. I skipped that red one. See, I'm noticing that the color of the stitch that I've been knitting is the opposite color of the previous row. So when I knit into a red stitch, it should be with the white yarn on this row. And I just noticed that it's not, and it's the same color, and that's wrong. So backing up to here. The chart may seem really hard to follow at first, and it can be confusing, but it does get easier. And like all this work, you know, you just look at the color of the stitch you're about to knit into, and it should be the same color as with the yarn. And the knit stitch that you knit with the white yarn will be white, and the purl stitch that you follow will be red. So it's easier than it may seem. Okay, where was I? So I knit one white. Oh, I was doing English, wasn't I? And purl one red. Oh, see, I messed it up. I always forget to bring the yarn to the front because I'm not an English knitter. Okay. That's why I hold both the yarns in my left hand so I don't forget, and also because it's faster. You don't have to bring the yarns to the front and back. Okay, and I suppose it's also possible, I'll just try to demonstrate it fast, to do something like this, where you've got both strands in the right hand. I've never attempted this. Let's see if I can do it. Knit one red, both yarns to the front, purl one, or yeah, knit one white, sorry, and then purl one red. So whatever works for you. Oh dear, well, not easy, but possible. So experiment, see what works for you.